make like our lives like a musical. That'd be good.
Musicals.
Yeah, no, that's true. What musical would you like to live in? That's a future question of the podcast, isn't it?
That's actually a really good question. Be more chill.
Be more chill. So, would you like to hear what other people said?
Go ahead.
So, question of the podcast last week: if you became supreme ruler of the world, what's the first rule you'd put in? Amy Rowe said she'd introduce critical thinking, and then she said, actually, I'd introduce critical thinking even when critical thinking help. I think I've fallen down the rabbit hole, and I think I've fallen down the rabbit hole with her because I'm really now confused what she means. So maybe she means that people should spend more time just thinking more sensibly.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. This one is one that resonates with me in a big way. Rachel, who's making an appearance again, says pigs in blankets all year round. Now, I've been saying that, haven't I? Let's make sure that pigs in blankets aren't just a Christmas. Why are you looking like that? You're not sure?
If it was a year-round thing, it wouldn't be as special.
I get it. I'd still enjoy pigs in blankets all year round.
When did you get bored of them? Just like every day, Mum brings out, here's some pigs in blankets. It's like, we had pigs in blankets yesterday.
Do you reckon I'd ever get bored of pigs in blankets?
Yes, we'd have to change the sausage variation.
Well, look, if we can find 365 different sausage variations, why would we need to eat anything apart from pigs in blankets?
What about your veggies or your carbs?
No, I'll have veggies. In one or two ways. Number one, next to my pigs in blankets, and maybe we do a veggie pig in blanket.
It's called a corn sausage.
That doesn't sound nice, a corn sausage. It just, I'm not going to have one of them. But I'd eat a sausage filled with carrots and sweets wrapped in bacon. That sounds really nice. No? Yeah. You're not loving that? Matt Walm said football matches can only kick off at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. You're not worried about that one, are you?
I'm not a big football fan.
Chris Haycock said, you've got to spend 1 hour a week helping somebody less fortunate than yourself. Now, I like that.
If you're the least fortunate person, it just becomes more obvious that you're the least fortunate person.
It doesn't matter if it's obvious. If people help you, you may not become as unfortunate. So that makes sense to me. Stu Morrison said, I've given this much thought over the years. So he's obviously thought about being Supreme Leader of the World before Charlotte. Day one, action item 1 is for... There is a global reasonableness contract. You have to be reasonable. You can't be unreasonable.
One person's reasonable is another person's
unreasonable. That's the challenge. What's reasonable to you might be different to what's reasonable for me. So
just like we want £1,000. Be reasonable. I don't even have £1,000.
Be reasonable. All right, 500.
I don't even have 500. Be more reasonable.
Failure to see sense and come on, settle down now will result in immediate expulsion from the planet. Now, in my head, that's with a giant catapult. There's just a giant catapult you put people on that just like sort of hurls them into space.
No, it's a giant rocket ship that sends you out to this satellite where all you can eat is Brussels sprouts.
Okay, and then all you can eat on Earth is peas and blankets. Is that right?
Oh,
yeah.
What about my potato salads?
Yeah. So, but there, what Stu would do to decide what was reasonable or not is he'd have a meeting. Just a little meeting, just to decide whether you're going to be catapulted off Earth. I mean, like, I don't know if that's enough.
We didn't say catapulted.
He said ejected from the planet. How are you going to do that?
Giant cannon.
Cannon. Maybe a cannon's the way to go. Aisha said no arms industry and resolve disputes via dialogue only. Yeah. Now, not arms as in the things that are connected to your shoulders. No guns or missiles. Yeah, I like that idea.
The bit about the violence by talk. I saw this show. It's an anime. You're probably going to think it's really funny. about a world where there was violence wasn't allowed. All disputes had to be solved by games.
Okay.
It's like rock, paper, scissors.
Cool.
Or chess, or checkers, or poker, or rummy, or
just, Monopoly.
Yeah, Monopoly as well.
Yeah.
Just any game you can think of.
I like that idea. So even if just sort of resolving disputes via dialogue doesn't work, resolving disputes via a little game of Cluedo might. Yeah, you never know.
Just like figure out who the murderer is in a world of no violence.
John would ensure that nobody, this is Cookie again, he's making a regular appearance now, that he'd say that nobody earns more than £500,000 a year while children are being born into poverty. So he'd try to make the world a more equal place. Now, I don't know if that rule would work in practice, but I like the concept behind it.
Is it sort of like capitalist, communist? What's the one in the middle?
Socialist.
Is it like a...
I don't think it's socialist to say that anybody earning 500k should put into the pot, but it's probably less capitalist than I'd be comfortable with. But I like the idea. Chris Laney says to be kind every single day, which is a real simple one, but really nice. And then Alan Hopgood would get us like his first day, his first sort of law, he'd get rid of as many rules as possible.
Yeah.
So he'd just get rid of rules. I like that.
What, be very feral then?
Well, I just sort of, so you've got the freedom and autonomy to do more of what you want to do.
No school, woo!
No school. Yeah. What would you do
can I
as
change
supreme?
mine?
What would you do as supreme leader, Charlotte? No school. Woo!
No, I'd do the musical thing.
Right.
I would live in a constant musical. Although the main
High School Musical or not?
No.
Right,
the main characters always ruin their own lives in musicals though, so I wouldn't be a main character.
No. Just a side character. Lee Harris said 0 animal cruelty, and that is one that
it's not something we can control.
What do you mean?
Well, you can't control people's actions fully, can you?
Okay.
Because not everyone's going to be afraid. Not everyone's going to be abiding by
but
these
if you
rules.
were,
That's why we have police and jail.
If you were supreme ruler of the world,
mind control, obviously.
I'd
create mind control because then I can.
Can you make your mind up? Either you're going to have no school, musicals for everybody, or mind control. Which
no, because if I have mind control, I could convince everyone to do both.
I mean, this is sounding a bit 1984 Orwellian. Dystopian world future-ish. This place where all you do is sing. There's mind control. And what was the other one? No school. So no education. So everybody stays uninformed. Feral families. You're creating the world's worst planet with your leadership. I don't know what's going on.
Exactly why I said I'd quit.
Mikey kept it simple. Mikey Fitzgerald kept it simple. He just said, don't be a dick. So that's direct. But yeah, okay. Kath Keat said retired and unemployed people can't use the bank between 12 and 2. So while everybody else is on their lunch breaks trying to use the bank, nobody else can, apart from people who work and therefore can only go lunchtimes. And then Tamsin's come in and said, or supermarkets on a Saturday. So I don't know how they're going to check this. They're going to have somebody turn around and go, excuse me, mate, you're unemployed? Yeah, your name's not down, you're not coming in.
They just have like a barcode on your shoulder that tells people if they're unemployed, just scan it.
Are you going back to your dystopian world future where you start barcoding people?
This barcode you from birth, mate.
Yeah, and then they start singing, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you in, because they're musicals. And then they go, yes, I will not come in, because of the mind control. And then they'll go, I don't know what you mean, because of the lack of school. This is your...
I didn't say there was no education, I said there was no school.
Ah, right, okay, that's
They're
fine.
just going to be educated, they're just not going to go to school.
That's fine. Robbie White's made an appearance. She's come back into the fray. I think children should be very kind to all in-laws. And maybe send them on a lovely cruise. Paid for by their son-in-laws. Do you like that one, Chris, do you? Not really, Robbie, to be honest. Sounds like it's going to cost me a bit of cash, that supreme decision.
Leadership.
Yeah, leadership. And there's going to be a lot of in-laws going on cruises by the sounds of it. Justin Gaffney's back, and he said a complete and fair distribution of global wealth. So similar to John's, just having
like a communist sort of world.
maybe sort of somewhere in the middle.
One of the things people say are very communist. Like, put that out there.
So John and Justin, Charlotte thinks that if you became supreme leader in the world, you turn it into a communist state. I'm a bit worried about that. However, we have got some lovely acts of kindness, listeners' kindness stories that I'd like to share. Would you like to hear them?
Yes, please.
Kuso had a good one this week. He says, kindest thing I've done, proposed to my wife.
Aww.
Kindest thing I've received, she said yes.
Aww.
What do you think of that? That's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one, Nathan, and I really like this. Nathan said, the kindest thing I've ever received is my stepdad taking me on at the age of 2. And what we might do in future weeks, listeners, and if you know anybody who'd be really insightful to talk about this, is talk about how kind adoption is and how it helps children. And because we don't know anything about that at this point, Charlotte, do we? So it'd be good to get somebody's insight on how supporting children who aren't with their natural mums and dads and how kind that is would be really useful. So let us know if you know anybody who can talk about that.
Because my generation's only view on adoption is Tracy Beaker, so I don't know if there's any good.
Yeah, but Tracy Beaker was in a home, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
But they were always trying to get her adopted, and she always got rejected.
Oh no! Why did she get rejected?
Have you never seen an episode of Tracy Beaker?
She was a bit of a scoundrel on the road, wasn't she?
Brat, yeah.
Yeah. So, but certainly that didn't happen to Nathan. Nathan was his stepdad took him on his own at the age of 2, and the kindest thing he's done is, and this is a repeating theme, he signed up for the donor register, which is a really nice thing to do, isn't it? So that's it for this week's podcast. It's been another good one. I've really enjoyed it. Have you, Charlotte?
Yes.
Awesome. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.